Amen. That's amazing. Thanks, Mel. That's wonderful. So how you guys been doing? Anybody got something to say? Anybody got a burning question? Anybody got a burning question? Unmute yourself.
Is anybody saying when the kids are going back to school yet, or we still don't know? Because I don't know.
We still don't know.
Okay.
At this point.
Good.
Even my kids' school sent out a letter saying, "We know you want to go back. We'll be back soon." It was like a 2-page letter that said nothing.
2 pages.
So nobody knows.
How's this week gone? Lucy, how's this week gone? Fast, yeah. Lucy, how's your week gone?
Good. Been busy with school stuff and teaching the kids. So no, it's been good.
Good. Shireen?
It's been going well. I've experimented with letting them spell. I've got a little wooden puzzle that they put the alphabet in. So I took all the alphabets out and I put them on the table, and I made Alicia spell using those to practice for her spelling. And I also made her make Play-Doh spelling as well. So I'm trying just to make it a bit more different and exciting for her. But other than that, I've been a bit busy this week, so I haven't been able to try other things.
That's great. Well done. And Shoki? Shoki, how are you? Can't see you, but it's okay. We can know you're there.
Hi, everybody. I'm good. This week it's been very busy for me. I'm working from home, and I've got a daughter. She's in grade 2, and we've been very slackish in the work, but we're trying to catch up now and going into the weekend. And I'll be on leave on Monday and Tuesday. I was actually hoping that we'll catch up for the other few days. And with the work, I've received worksheets from her school, but it was dated until the 30th of April, and we haven't received anything else. So it was a bit of a frustration. But I went into the Department of Education, and I saw that there were some Term 2 work that we could keep busy with. So that's what we're going to be working on. But it's been great, and yeah, I thank the Lord for the wisdom that I was able to be guided to go onto the education website and received some work. So yeah, so far it's been great. Yeah, and that's it from my side.
Good, thanks so much. All right, I think we're gonna shove things around a little bit. I'd love Amy to just speak about her week. Sure. Amy, speak about your week. You got the floor.
Great. So my week was terrible, and I can't really tell you why. So last week was a great week. Up until this point, we've actually been doing really well at home. And this week, it just felt like the wheels fell off. Everybody's still alive, and we finished the work for the week and all those things. But the week felt like an uphill battle. And I don't have any real reason or explanation, but I felt like I totally lost my mind this week.
Anybody have a feeling like that? Just wave your hand if you've ever felt like that in these last couple of days.
No, just me, nobody else.
They're lying.
So I think one of the things I realized is that I feel like I can't think to the end of thinking it. So I start thinking, I have a train of thought, and I never get from A to Z, because a child always needs something, or a kid, is the teacher's calling or whatever, or I have my own things I'm trying to achieve, and I don't have a train of thought that runs to completion. So I feel like I'm losing my mind. I feel at times that I've lost my purpose, which is not true, but the thought creeps up, and I have to continually remind myself that I'm surrendering in this season, and the season is a difficult season, but I sometimes just feel like I've lost my purpose, and even feel like I've lost myself. So in the run of my week, I've got 3 children, and they are 9, 7, and 2. So there's always somebody that needs something, even if it's, they can't find their pencil or whatever. That I just feel like I'm never alone, and I can't finish a train of thought. But it's, nothing disastrous happened. I just felt quite overwhelmed. One thing that has been helpful is voice notes. So when I have a thought, and so that I don't lose it before it runs out of my brain, I have been resorting to voice noting everybody, anything, at any time, so that I don't forget what I'm supposed to say. But there's 2 things that I thought that I could share with you guys today that are helpful, that maybe I haven't done very well this week, but that I know to be helpful in my life. The one is to manage expectations. So that is my expectation and their expectations. So an example is I try to tell my children what we're doing for the day. And so, for example, yesterday I had my own Zoom meeting at 11. So I said to them, okay, we're going to do this until 11, and then you guys are going to play outside, and then blah, blah, blah. So I try and manage everybody's expectations by telling everybody what we're up to. And then I said to James, okay, you're finished for the day. Like, your work is done. And he skedaddled off to go and play. And then I had to call him back because his teacher sent something that needed to be added on to whatever. And he was so disappointed because he said, Mom, you've told me that I'm finished, and now I have to come back and work some more. Like, that's not fair. So just trying to manage their expectations, to communicate well, to tell them what's coming next. But obviously sometimes life happens, and then we have to roll with that. And as well as my own expectations. So I have expectations of having a clean house, or of having a moment to drink my cup of tea alone, or whatever. My expectation may be a huge thing or a tiny thing, but I've had to learn to manage my own expectations in the day and realize that sometimes I'm just not going to get through everything that I would like to have got through in a day. So that's the first thing, is managing expectations. The second thing is managing emotions. Again, their emotions and my emotions. And one of the things I realized this week in chatting to my kids, particularly James this week, who's more quiet. Beth's quite vocal about how she feels. James is quieter about those things. And I realized that actually my children have lost too. So we've all lost something in this season. But recognizing that my kids have suffered loss. They've lost their freedom. We still have more freedom, that we can go to the shops or whatever, but their freedom to play with their friends in a normal way, not over a screen, their freedom to do sport and to learn and to be educated, all those things that are like basic to being a child, they've lost a lot of those things. So I've had to realize that I have to manage my children's emotions through their loss. And I think sometimes we don't think enough about how our children are affected by these things. And we said it's going to be 3 weeks, and then it became 5 weeks, and now it's like, okay, so what now? They keep asking me, like, what now? When are we going to hear? When are we going to go back to school? And I don't have answers for them, but I've had to learn to manage their emotions and recognize that they have big emotions that sometimes, so with a Beth, she'll tell me her emotions, and that's great. So I can manage them and we can discuss and all those things. But with James, his emotions are more hidden. He doesn't talk about his emotions in the same way. So he'll play up and react to a situation, which is, ridiculous. And then I have to realize that actually there's an emotion there that needs to be dealt with. And then my own emotions also have to be dealt with, recognizing what I've lost, and retraining my mind into going, like, actually my children are my greatest calling. So I might feel like I've lost certain things outside of that, but I am operating in my greatest calling, and that is my family. And recognizing that I actually am a better mom if I have time with God. And I think we all know it, but it's one of those things that we just need to remember over and over again. I'm a better mom, I'm a better wife, I'm a better person if I have time with God. So it helps me to manage my own emotions. And it's impossible to escape children, I find, which is why I feel like I'm losing my mind. So self-care is a thing, it's a big buzzword in the world, and it's quite a hard thing to achieve in this season. But I'm trying to find small ways to deal with myself and my emotions in a healthy way. So now we are allowed to exercise and go for a walk or go for a run or whatever. For me, I love to have a hot bath and put my ears under the water so that my children I can't hear my children. So even if they're making a noise, I just shut them out. And today when I was hanging up the laundry, I put my earphones in, and I just had worship music playing for 5 minutes while I hung up the laundry. And it sounds like stupid, insignificant things, but it's me trying to manage my own emotions in this season. I think the biggest thing I want to leave with you today is that as a mom, I don't know if it's the same in every household, but in my household, as a mom, I realized a few years ago that I set the tone. So if my whole family is happy and, skipping around the kitchen table at breakfast, and I walk in with a thundercloud over my head, I change the atmosphere in the room, and I set the tone for the rest of the day. So I need to manage myself in order to manage their emotions. I need to manage my expectations in order to manage their expectations, because I set the tone. And it's hard. It's a huge responsibility to set the tone in your family, because you can't, you feel like, I can't even just have a bad moment. Gareth said to me at one point this week, "Why are you so grumpy?" And I said, "I don't know. I don't even have a reason to be grumpy. I just am, But I set the tone, and I need to be aware of that so that I can try and help myself flip out of it, so that the tone that I'm setting is one that is healthy and helpful for the rest of the family. And then lastly, this week's been tough, but there's grace for this season, and we just have to find it day by day, moment by moment, fresh grace for every single moment of every day. We're not alone in it. God is with us, and got to find the grace in and through it.
Got to find the grace, eh? Got to find the grace. I love that. Sorry, I went away.
I saw you went away.
My computer just decided that it didn't want to connect to the internet.
Oh dear.
And I'm such an untechnical person that then I'm done. I just don't know what to do. So Craig's got to come and help me, and then I've got fingers all over the screen and everything. I'm so sorry.
Well, I'm glad you're back.
But the one thing about that setting of the tone, I've spent, this is outside of schooling. This is my own little thing. I've spent so many years saying, God, what is your purpose for me? I mean, it's just ridiculous. I want to be out there and changing the world, and I want to have the same clout as what I see men having in the church and stuff. But what Amy's just said there about setting the tone and the example that we give for our children, we are world changers. Actually, we are. And we do. A dad can walk in a bad mood, and a dad doesn't seem to have as much effect on the hearts of our little humans that watch us. And so we definitely do have a massive role to play. That's outside of whether you're schooling, whether you're locked down, whether you're not. I think those life lessons that Amy's spoken about, I think they're for more than just our moments in lockdown. I really do. I missed a bit, but But what I've heard is more life lessons, actually. So, I mean, I've been giving it some thought as well about this homeschooling thing. I'll just let you into a little secret about our homeschooling. I don't know whether I shared this. I think I did. Is that when we first started homeschooling, after about 3 or 4 weeks, I said to Craig, I don't like my children. They're horrible. They are miserable human beings. I don't like them. I feel like they are fighting all the time. I'm fighting with them. I don't like them. Please, can you do something about it? In fact, I don't want to even homeschool anymore. I want to send them back to school. And he said to me this. He said, it feels like I said to him, I said, I feel like I pulled back the carpet of normality and there's just bugs underneath that carpet. And I said, I want to put the carpet back down again and just walk nicely again. And he said, yeah, but you'll put the bugs back down and then I'll stand on the bugs on the carpet, you know. And the problem with that is that the bugs don't ever go away, do they? They stay there and the carpet gets pulled back. And I feel like God has just pulled back our carpet because some of us are not choosing to homeschool. And it's not like I'm advocating in this moment to homeschool. I'm just saying the carpet's been pulled back on us. We didn't, whether we wanted it or not, because Craig wouldn't. He wouldn't let me send the children back to school. I had to deal with the bugs. He says, just deal with the jolly bugs. So I had to deal with all the hojas. That's in the midst of the
At the moment, we don't have a choice of whether we're homeschooling or not. We're all in it.
Yeah, so you've all got the bugs. And I'm just telling you now, there's just, all you need to do is just stamp on each bug as it comes every day and make a decision to keep stomping. So if that's the only thing that you heard here today, just keep stomping. Just keep stomping because eventually that bug population will die out. And you will have a much healthier family and a much healthier you, much healthier relationships in your children. Just keep stomping. That's what I say, is just keep stomping. You know, they tell you to keep walking in the Christian walk, but I'm telling you in this time, you're going to keep stomping. So the same thing is I heard this week is Tess Yannick spoke about it. I didn't stay on her call the whole time, but she said this one thing that made me think, and I realized that all of you ladies that are sitting there with children in your homes are doing hard and holy things. You're doing hard and holy things. It's not this thing that you be called to do to school your children is a holy thing. Is it hard? Yes, it is. But I think God has entrusted us for this moment to do those hard and holy things. And so you need to hold that and say, okay, God, you've entrusted me with this hard thing. Can I do it? Yes. And I'm going to do it in a holy manner, which is what Amy was saying. Manage your expectations, manage their expectations, set the tone for your home. I think those are the holy things. So just take with both hands. One hand you take the hard stuff and the other hand you take the holy stuff. So today I want to spend literally not too long. I'll be done in about 10 minutes. I want to spend some time on the fostering of love for learning. For me, that's more important than the curriculum that you're going to get, is Marie. It really is. I think it's more important than whether you get sent stuff from your school or whether you don't get sent stuff from your school, or whether you're floundering around, whether you're getting all sorts of things from all sorts of people. I think the most important thing that we need to be doing at this point is fostering a love for learning. So I just said, okay, well, how would I do that? And I think I did it a little bit with Kevin because he hated learning. He was the kid in the preschool playground. They used to have to find him. He was 4. They had to find him every single playtime. After every playtime, they'd gather them into the classroom and they'd sit them all down and they'd count all the kids and say, Kevin's missing. Every day he hid in the playground. He did it. So I think he used to hide in the car every single time. My sister was teaching him at that point, and she said, you know, if he found a different hiding place, it would be understandable, but he hides in the same place. But what he was telling them was, I don't like learning. I want to just play. I don't like learning. And he carried that attitude for a long time. And so when I went into homeschooling, I had to really think hard. And in fact, we had to reorganize the way we even helped him with his schoolwork when he went back to school. And it was fostering the love of learning. So we need to foster the love of learning. And, you know, I spoke from John 1, and I'm going to draw again from John 1. You know, when God gives you a revelation, sometimes it needs repetition, and sometimes we need to keep going back, and you think, oh God, I've got it. And God keeps taking you back. Amy sent me a message this week. She said, I just want revelation. And I just said, you'll get it. You'll get revelation. And I think you'll be surprised at how much revelation God's giving to you in this time. I think you're going to be surprised. Sometimes we're in the revelation moment and we think, I don't know how many times we sit there and we say, oh, I'm getting revelation from God. Sometimes we do. But most times it's, oh my goodness, look what God did. Look at the revelation that he gave me on grace for the season, on my own child, on what he's like as a kind father. And we see that in retrospect sometimes. So this season, be expecting God to speak to you. Be expecting some revelation from God. So I'm going to draw again on the revelation that I spoke of at the beginning of the year. And in John 1, Jesus has just been baptized or something. Yeah, Jesus has just been baptized, and two of John's disciples, one must have been John, but two of John's disciples started following Jesus, but they started following him secretly from behind. So they were like lurking in the background. So that's like that thing that Amy was saying, when you can't get away from your children, it's like there's always someone behind you or in front of you or watching you, or the eyes are coming around the corner.
Always.
Imagine Jesus, he's walking along and he's got these two lurkers behind him. They're not approaching him, but they're just lurking. And he turns around to them and he asks them this question. He says, what do you want? And I mean, I know how I would say it, and I don't think Jesus said it like that, but he said, what do you want? And I think in this season, as homeschoolers, as businesswomen, as teachers, as bottle washers, cooks, domestic workers, as whoever you are, engineers, as computer buffs, whatever you're doing, in your busyness, you've got to ask yourself in this skillful schooling question is, what do you want? Do you want to make sure that your children are all workshopped up? Do you want to make sure your children are up to date with what they're going to go back to, but you don't even know what they're going to go back to? Are you making sure that your children are attending all the Zoom calls? Because what's going to happen if they don't attend? Are you going to get chucked out of school because your children don't attend a Zoom call? What is it you want? What is it you want for your children? What is it, do you want them to be caught up to date? Because you can easily do that. You can make time over the weekend. You can school all week if you want. But I think that we need to, as a mom, we need to say, what do I want from this time? We're not going to get this time ever again. Ever again. You're never going to have this time where you can ask yourself, what do I want from my children's schooling? And so Jesus says then, what do you want? And I think we need to be saying, okay, what do I want? I know that for myself, like I've just said to Esme, I had a little quiet conversation with her because she came on first. Boom, Esme, is that we need to, I think I want my children to learn concepts well. I want them to learn a concept, because if a child has a concept of something, if they've learned that well, that carries them through. So I want them to be able to learn how to discover for themselves. I want them to learn how to access information. I want them to learn to ask the right questions. I want them to be able to access information, because it's no longer rote learning anymore. You can access anything on any platform at any time. So I want them to learn that. I want them to become confident learners. I want them to walk into the class when they come back after lockdown. I want them to be saying, I know some stuff. So these are, do you want that for your child? Do you want them to be a confident learner? I'd love them if I had children still in my house, and I've got grandchildren. I'm busy writing a curriculum for them as well. and I'm saying to them, actually pique their curiosity. Stir it. Make them more interested in. Give them that love of learning. Give them an insatiable desire to find out more, even with maths. Even with maths, how are we going to learn this? What are we going to do? But I want them to come out of this lockdown learning confident in what that they're good learners. And another thing I think that you should be saying, what do I want? I want them to be godly. You have a moment. You have a moment to instill your values. Not that what the teacher thinks or what the principal says, your values. So you need to sit down with yourself if you're a single mom and say, what are my values? What do I value? Do I value shopping? Do I value this? Do I value that? What do I value? And you want to press that into your kids' godly values. It's amazing to just, instead of wanting them just to be up to date, wanting them to be present for all the Zoom things, why don't we stir something different in them? And then he said something else. So he turned around to the disciples and he said to them, okay, what do you want? And then they said, where do you live? So it was an idiom in those days to say, where are you staying? We want to come and spend some time with you. And so then Jesus didn't just say, well, I'm living at 27 Sandpiper, and you can come for tea if you want. He said to them, come and discover for yourself. Just come and discover for yourself. And it's like, that's what we should be doing with our kids. Should we not be saying to them, we get out the geography books and the geography teacher has said to us, we must teach them about mountains. Why don't we, instead of saying, this is what the teacher says about mountains, why are we not saying to them, what should we learn about mountains? What do you want to know? Come, let's go and discover for ourselves what we can about a certain topic. Instead of relying on a worksheet, instead of relying on a Zoom call. Even the ballet things, and I know it's sweet, I think the ballet works quite nicely over Zoom, and the kids are excited to be in those. And they are excited to be in the Zoom calls. I'm not saying that you mustn't do those Zoom calls, but I think we can do far more than that, than just be an attendee of a Zoom call. But what if you get off that ballet thing and say, what else can you do with that ballet move? You've just learned a ballet move. What else? What else can you do with your body? What else can you do? Teach them how to do a bit of self-discovery. I love that. I mean, Jesus invited those two men, come and discover for yourself. And I think we should be inviting our children to discover for themselves. Go away for 5 minutes and you discover as much as you can. There's some books, there's the TV, there's the app, there's the address that you can go and look about leopards or cheetahs or whatever you're studying, or cause and effect, whatever you're studying. What do you think? You go discover, and maybe they're going to get the answer wrong. There's no teacher to shout at them if they get it wrong. You're going to make them into confident learners. You're going to make them into confident learners. I think it's time. I had on TV, we've changed the internet here at this place. We had such slow internet. We weren't even able to watch live TV without that little blue circle going around. We weren't able to watch catch-up TV. We weren't able to watch Netflix. So we changed the internet. And suddenly it's all quick. So suddenly I can get onto that live earth thing. Where they're going on the bucky and they're doing that. And that's what learning should be like. I'm not talking about animals. I'm talking about what is around the next corner. What new thing are we going to learn today? What? We're on this vehicle and we're going to do maths and it's usually blinking, boring. But maybe there's something exciting around the corner. Is there something that we can mimic of what's happening on that live stream game drive? What are we going to see? What are they going to be doing? Where are they going to be? Are they going to be in the middle of the road? Are they going to be up? We saw that the one that we saw was a leopard up a tree. And it's like, that's so exciting. And I think we should be able to do that with our kids. Make it so that they discovering that there's like a anticipation without the sense of failure, without a sense of, I'm going to fail at this. Or if I try that, maybe I'll fail. So what? It's okay because I'm your teacher and I know what it's like to fail. And I think that we need to go on a journey of discovery with our kids. Come on, give it a bash this week. Just try asking questions instead of just putting the worksheet in front of them and saying, okay, that's it. That's your work for the day. Get through that worksheet. Make it a discovery. I think you are going to need to plan a little bit in advance. Take their work, whip through it, see what they're going to do, and then lay out some things. Get some videos that they could watch, or teach them how to get onto it, or prepare the books for them in the night before, or something. Just take them on a journey of discovery. I think that's great. So I think the love of learning, it starts with a discovery. So teach them how to discover things. Teach them to ask the right questions. Why, Mom? What? I mean, we shut those 3-year-olds up because they're so irritating with why? 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 Because it is. Why? But I don't know why we shut them up. Your 10-year-olds should be still saying why. And we should be able to give them access to information to how to find out why. I don't know, but listen, I've got a Zoom call in 30 minutes and I'll be an hour. But after my Zoom call, let's find out together. And then there's anticipation for that child to find out with you together about his question. It's a marvelous thing. Second thing that I think you need to, that's going to help you with your schooling is and the love of learning is teach them how to listen. Teach them some listening skills. You know how many times, and I mean, my children do it too, I did it. Go and put your washing away. I said, go and put your washing away. One. I said, go put it. 1, 2. And we start shouting at 3, and then only the kids they hear that third time, and then they go and do it. I don't know why we do that. The teachers do not do that. The teachers speak once and they expect the children to listen. Telling you, if we teach our children in this little short space of time that we have, how to listen the first time. Just how to listen the first time. And bring the consequences in when they don't listen the first time. Don't need to count because they wait for the 3. Because they don't want to do what you're telling them to do, so they're going to wait for number 3 before they start to do. If you ask a grade 1 teacher, what's the best skill that you can give a grade R child going into grade 1? To teach them how to listen and to follow more than 3 instructions. And you think, oh, that's so simple. Go try it out with your kids just now and see how many instructions they actually follow first time around. The classes are getting bigger and bigger. The pace is getting faster and faster back at school. That if we can teach them how to listen the first time and what to be listening for, it's gonna solve half our problems. Jackie McGovern did a talk, and she was so brilliant. In fact, I'm going to get her on. We'll get her onto this platform because she's so good. And she said that primary school children, all they need is to learn to talk. They need to learn to listen. They need to learn. Oh, I can't remember what the other. She's got 4 things that they need. Oh, read, write. To read, to write, to listen, and
You think? Not?
to think. Something like that. But I think that, so if we can listen, and if you think of yourself as an adult, if we can listen, how much more? And also, this is the year of God's voice. This is the year that we're going to hear God more than anything else. So if you can. So all of this is a bit of a double whammy, I'm sorry to say, but it's also for you and for your kids. If you can learn to listen and obey the first time. I'm reading through Philippians and it speaks about the servants, that he says, I'm a servant with Timothy. And that word servant is diakonos. And it means kick up the dust. And basically what he's saying when he talks about a servant, he says, it's quick to obey. They run through the streets. They're covered in the dust of the rabbi, so they're following closely behind the rabbi. And when he turns around to say something, they kick up the dust and they go and do it. I tell you, we need to be dusty in our homes. We need to be quick to obey. We need to teach our children to be quick to obey. God's gracious and kind to us and speaks more than once to us. But man, imagine our lives if we could just hear God once and obey. I think things would change dramatically for us. And I think if we can teach our children to listen, just teach them to listen first time and obey. Be dust kickers and be dust movers, dust shakers. Movers and shakers will move and shake the dust. And then the other thing, this is also what Jackie McGovern speaks about, is teach them how to discuss things, teach them how to talk. So half the time at school they get told to shut up because to control even 20 children, and I mean, we've shut you all up in this because to everybody talking at the same time is just too much. But in your home, you don't have 20 children. Jackie McGovern's got 7. I don't know of many other people that have got 7. I don't know. And their children are loud and they talk a lot. She's taught them how to talk. And I think in that talking, in the discussion aspect, there's a talking time, there's a listening time, there's a sharing time, there's a waiting your turn time. There's all those little things. Just if you think about a discussion, this is not a discussion, this is a one-way street. This is what the children get all the time at school. And I think we've got such a beautiful, it's a life skill. How to hold a discussion. You've been with those people. I'm like that at the moment. You're with those people and they just talk and talk and talk and you don't get a word in edgeways. It's not a discussion. It's a talk. And that's what the kids are getting at school, and it's time. And so they're not learning that skill of discussion. So I think if you can, and where it comes from with the two-way street is that Jesus, in that John 1, he speaks to Philip goes to get Nathaniel, and he says, Nathaniel, I've met the Messiah. And Nathaniel says, oh, really? And Philip says, yes, he's from Nazareth. And they say, and Nathaniel says, what good can come out of Nazareth? And instead of entering into this big long discussion and telling Philip telling Nathaniel everything. He says, well, come and discover for yourself. You can have a discussion with the Messiah. And Nathaniel goes to meet Jesus, and Jesus has a discussion with Nathaniel. Isn't that amazing? He has a discussion. He talks to him. He interacts with Nathaniel, and it is the most beautiful moment. And so I think we do need to teach our children about discussion. That there's a whole area there that we need to think about and talk about, and let them experiment with discussions. If you've got more than one child in your home, which I think most of you have, it's great to do these life skill things. Jesus is kind with us. He has a discussion with us sometimes. I know we feel like sometimes it's a one-way street, but it's not. He discusses things with us. He expects us to listen and obey, but there's a discussion that we have every day when we get up and pray, when every day we have self-care and we spend our time with Jesus. There's a discussion happening. And discussions with Jesus are sometimes stopping and listening, sometimes talking and begging and pleading. But he wants to enter into those discussions with us. So that's my little bit for today. And I think what Amy has said is so powerful. And in being vulnerable, you know that you don't have to be okay all the time. I don't even have children in my home, and 2 days this week I said to Craig, he says, oh yes, and I'm actually jolly miserable and I don't know why. And this lockdown time with the losses that Amy was speaking about is a very vulnerable time. And I think if we have a discussion around it with our children maybe, and let them into some of our hearts, I think you'll see some of their heart as well. So I hope that helps. I hope that those are 3 things that you can, well, I know you've heard what Amy said. She's got her 3 things or whatever. My 3 things would be teach them how to discover, ignite. I'd be praying that an ignition of the love of learning would happen in your home, the love of learning in your children. Because if you learn, you'll be a learner for life. I'm going through Proverbs at the moment, and it just speaks about being a willing learner. So teach them how to discover, make it a discovery process. Teach them how to listen. If we can't listen, we're in a lot of trouble. And teach them how to discuss things. Teach them how to talk. You know, with all the preschools that we deal with at the moment, the way that the women have been brought up in their schooling was rote learning, and all they ever were taught was, you shut up and let me talk. And the teacher just spoke, and they had to rote learn. And so they go into the schools, and 4- and 5-year-olds are sitting being quiet while the discussion is happening, and there's no discussion, it's just. And I think that, come on, we can teach them. We can teach our children to have a good discussion without getting heated, without having to have their own way, without having to have their own opinion being the thing. It's that we need that the art of discussion, the giving and taking, that when the opinions don't quite match up between your 7- and 9-year-olds, and I hear sibling rivalry is at an all-time high, when it doesn't quite match up, how are we going to get through that? So you bring in the conflict resolution, but it's the basic thing of sitting around your dining room table having a discussion about something. That is going to do. So whether you get through your worksheets, whether you get all your Zoom calls in, whether you get a clean house, whether you have clean undies, please have clean undies. Whether you have a clean toilet, please have a clean toilet. We've had epic fails of meals recently. If your meals are not so great, it doesn't really matter. But the things that matter will be the eternal things are teaching our children to discover Jesus and our values, and teaching them how to listen, teaching them how to have a discussion with other people, because they're going to have to defend their faith one day. And that would be a wonderful thing, wouldn't it? So that's our bundle for today. It is recorded, so if your friends want it, you're welcome to share it. I see Darlene did join us at one point. I have asked her if she'll do something for us at some point on styles of learning. I do want to get Jackie McGovern in. Yeah, just how your kids learn and how they do it differently. So we're going to do that. And I want to get Jackie McGovern in to also talk. She's phenomenal. So we're not trying to do this on our own. But thank you, ladies, for your time, for your effort. Maybe Amy, you can just end us all off with prayer, charge us with something. Go for it.
Awesome. I'll charge you with recognizing that it is the weekend, and so we can kick up our heels, build a fort, I don't know what, drink lots of tea, do something fun.
No wine anymore.
There's no wine, so we have to have tea. But let's have some fun with our kids this weekend. That's the charge. It doesn't all have to be, hectic schedules and things. Let's just have fun. So God, I just thank you that you do have a grace for us in this season, and that even though it's tough and there's emotions and there's so much to deal with and there's so much to juggle and work and children and all those things, God, we thank you that Holy Spirit, you are present in our homes and that we can tap into you at any time, that we can reach out to you and you can give us fresh grace moment by moment, that you can give us wisdom in what to say to our children and how to deal with our children in our different circumstances, and that we are never alone and never have to be freaked out and terrified of the future, because you are with us in our present and you are ready in the future. And I thank you for that, and help us over this weekend just to know your presence, Holy Spirit. Would you just be present with us and in us and as we spend time with our children. We honor you, God, and we glorify you. Thank you, Jesus. Amen.